Good evening and welcome to TalkSports. Yes, so I'm here now. Right. Welcome to TalkSports. And I want to greet everyone who has joined us once again to be part of our program. Well, I basically put up my guest before introducing my guest, who is actually Ali McIntyre, and Ali, who is in Brooklyn, New York as well. And tonight we'll be talking about a very important topic, and one which has to do with the whole initiative to get relay teams, particularly in North America, ready for in earnest competition. And Ali will come on in a while to give us all of that. And then later on, we'll speak to Mr. Fernando John, the father and coach of Nazio, who have just returned from Nairobi, Kenya, where they participated in the World Athletics Under 20 Championships. But important enough, though, our main topic tonight has to do with the lack thereof of competition for relay teams for Grenada, and a whole new initiative here in the diaspora to get relay teams participating, where most of the Grenadian athletes are actually based. So there is this initiative on, and they have started talking among themselves in terms of getting themselves ready for competition, and the whole logistics and all of that. So I'll talk to Ali McIntyre, who will give us a little gist about the interim preparations thus far, and what he has been discussing with those athletes, the sort of feedback, and things like that. I'll also give you some snippets of some discussions we had previously with Wayne Maxwell, local, that's a Grenadian track and field coach, and also Harvey Glantz and his views on the whole issue of relay. But first, let me once again introduce Ali McIntyre. Ali, good evening to you, Ali.
Good evening, Mike, and good evening to everyone that is listening locally and abroad.
Right.
Thanks for the opportunity to be on your program tonight, Mike.
Well, and thanks for being there once again, because for those who don't know, Ali was one of the first participants of the program sometime early last year, when we started this whole program. He was one of those who were there in the start. But Ali, let's talk about the whole initiative and the issue regarding relay teams. You have been participating in numerous track and field meets throughout the US, all the way down to Florida, all over Atlanta, all over, and you have seen whether it's Guyana, whether it's Jamaica, other Caribbean teams putting together other Caribbean countries, as they put together teams to participate and get themselves ready. And in the context of Grenada, where most of the athletes, competitive athletes, including the professional athletes, are based, tell me and guide me through about this whole thinking of getting the athletes here, and I'm speaking about both men and women, sort of together and trying something, as we'll say, in terms of relay teams. Guide me through.
Right. So the process, it actually started when the IAAF, as it was formerly called, World Athletics, when they introduced the mixed relay event. I thought that was right there and then the breakthrough for Grenada, especially knowing that we can't obviously put together a full 4x4 male team. So I think that was the opportunity right there for us, because we had Kirani, we had Braylon, we had Kanika, we had Melanie, we had Amanda, those who were competing competitively on the circuit. And I was just thinking, well, this right there is the opportunity for us to at least medal, because I seen it as this was made just for us, because we can't put together a male team, we can't put together a female team. So why not pool the few that we have to actually have a team that could compete on the world stage? So that's where it all started, the thought process. But as you know, we did not, we don't have the support that we expect from our local administration to mobilize the athletes, to get them together and stuff like that. So it, to me, what it is that if you don't do it yourself, you will not get it done. So because I see the lack of effort and initiative, I think that right now, as we have a plethora of athletes over here, we have probably the most we have ever had at any point in time. It would be great to actually have the guys and girls together right now, so we can start, creating that momentum and creating that interest in US based competition and competing competitively.
And what sort of feedback you have had from those who you have contacted in the interim? Just the idea of putting something together. What's the feedback like?
The feedback has been awesome. They made me even more excited because just last night I just decided, you know what, I would create a text message just to get just to feel the energy, feel the vibes that's out there, and immediately everyone was like, "Yeah, I'm on board. Like, let us do this. We have to do this right now." So I'm like, "All right." So right now it's all about promoting it, getting raising awareness, so that people know that this is what we intend to do and this is what we are going to do, because it doesn't make sense we just keep talking and not making an effort to do anything. So the feedback has been great. I've been speaking to a lot of people already, a lot of athletes, and they're ready and willing to get the ball rolling.
But you yourself know, Ali, that it will take a lot, the logistics in terms of getting the athletes together, even so more easier than probably if they were based in Grenada. But just the logistics, some of those are in colleges and different parts of the US. But you're seeing a limelight there. You're seeing something that is encouraging there. In addition to that, is it a hope that through that initiative, that probably the authorities that you're referring to, which is the Grenada Athletic Association, may probably see the positive of the initiative and give it its stamp of approval?
Yes, and that is exactly what the intent is. So once they see that, okay, we are making an effort, we are willing and able to come together and do stuff on our own. We just need the support from them to just to press forward and compete.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Well, I see Eugene. Look, you're saying tonight. I know Eugene. If probably something like that was in your time, I know you would have probably be smart in a medal by now. And Ali, I guess as much the feedback you will be getting from, especially the current athletes, is in addition to probably the public who may see that as an opportunity, because they themselves have been clamoring for quite some time, for years now, that they see no reason why Grenada should not be
No
involved
reason.
in international and competitive relays.
Right, because we had people, we had folks. So at one point we had 2, 3 in our finals on the world stage, and we have no backup basically. But yeah, it's amazing to see what really does, because if you take it back to days of intercall and so on, like we discussed before, part of the excitement were relays, whether it be 4x1, 4x4, and actually sometimes that it came down to the last event, the 4x4, where GBSS will go up against SAS or whoever, it be McDonald College, and that's the whole. It creates a vibe, it creates an excitement, and what that does, it brings out the best performance from an athlete. So sometimes you may see some athletes performing poorly on the individual event, they may not be doing so well, but when it comes down to relays, it brings out a whole other level of competition out of you. Because, for example, even myself, when I was in Carifta St. Lucia 2009, I was down, I was depressed. I couldn't even make a final for the 100, needed 200. The 4x1, it wasn't that well. And I just like, 4x4, rain falling. The guys kind of pumped us up. He was like, yo, you don't know how good it feels to be up on the podium. Just go out there, just go run, give it your all. And Mike, when you just laid all at the table, great things could happen. So this is part of the expectation, is that once we get into competition, that great performances will come out of those.
smiling because your good friend, I don't know what he's trying there.
I
Jeremy
know what he's
Massimo.
trying either.
Good night, Jeremy. Good night, Jeremy. This guy. What happened to this guy, Jeremy? What it is? Guyana wants a challenge for Grenada.
Listen, I tell him already. We coming, and I have Kim ready. I have Shima ready. I have my troops ready, so we coming behind Guyana. We coming for them.
Well, talking about the troops ready, Ali. And you said you have been contacting some, and some that you haven't contacted as yet, and are waiting reply. But I mean, just going through the names and the lists and things like that. So you're very encouraged by knowing that we have what it takes to be competitive, whether it's 4x1, 4x2, mixed relays, and I mean, it's as you said with the IWF, the introduction of these things in world athletics now. It's even more interesting that more countries are getting into it, as Belgium, for example, and others that you never really thought will be in the mix, and getting into it. Why not Grenada? So is that among the reasons why you're so encouraged about that?
That is part of the reason. Because if you look at last World Relays, every finalist earned a spot for the next World Championship, and that was just automatic. There was hardly any representation there, so you was almost sure you would have a spot on it. So imagine if Grenada had been there. We know we're not going there with the best of the best, but we actually represented. We could have had a chance to have a place on the World Athletics pool. So it's all about representation, availability, and just being there to represent Grenada.
Well, that is interesting, and I want to just insert some feedback from two coaches on the whole issue of the relays and all of that. First, you will hear from Coach Harvey Glantz. I have it in two parts, but his whole idea of the relays. First, he speaks about Kirani's involvement in a relay. Then he will also talk about, later on, we'll have him talking about the mixed relays, which is what you indicated, and then we'll also have Wayne Maxwell and his input as well. Is that Kirani is not competing in the relays?
Well, one, in the relays now, because he's away from the collegiate scene, most relays that are run in competition are relays that are run by countries. And we have been so close to putting together a relay team with Grenada. But it's never really panned out when all four athletes, or 5 or 6, because you got to have about 5 or 6 athletes at 400 meters to really compete at major championships. Because there's a good chance that Karani will be running the open 400 meter. There's a good chance that someone else qualifies in the 400 meter, like he did Rondale Bartholomew in 11 and Chaplin in 16 at the Olympics. That one of those guys will be able to run the rounds, because you can't risk not making the finals. You just don't run a relay just to be running. You want to run a relay to try to medal. And so we've had some great 400 meters runner come out of Grenada. I just named 3 of them. Can you imagine Rondale, Braylon, Karani, and just one more that could probably run 45 flat, 45-1. You had 3 guys that could probably split 43 seconds or better if they were able to all stay around. Unfortunately, Rondale ran into some injuries from after 2011, and Braylon after 2016, is not around anymore, and Karani is still there, but we haven't had a lot of 400 meter runners from Grenada just kind of pop up at the same time and within the same cycle. And there's another good 400 meter runner, I think, now at Barton County that's going on. So really the reason why we haven't put together the 4x4 is that it's all timing. It's just people are popping up at the wrong time. And the consistent model in this whole thing has been Karani. And he's been there, but we've been waiting for the other 3 or 4 athletes to kind of be with him. So the reason why we haven't run relays is because there haven't been relays that we could run at a high level. We can run to get work just as we did at the Penn relays. Now, you talked about that 43-5 relay split that he had at Penn relays. Well, he ran great, and Rondell was on that relay as well. But the overall time was 3:08. You know, colleges run that.
Yeah. That's probably you might get a high school coming close to that.
Right.
Too. Yeah.
Right. Well, high schools is close to that. I mean, so you got to at least at a major championship be up under 3 minutes. And I just said with those athletes that 3 of those athletes I just named all have been in major championship. They were always missing 1 or 2 that will allow one of the top 2 or 3 400-meter guys to have rest. So it's a formula, but it's also being realistic that if you can't break 3 minutes at a major championship or run right at 3 flat, you're not going to medal.
Okay, right. So, yeah, Ali. So that in the context of what Javi have been speaking about there, and that was a few months well before he spoke more about the possibilities of mixed relays, for example, and things like that. So that was the concern, and that was the focus at the time, that about a 4x4 relay team, because at that time, Grenada had probably among the 3 of the top quarter milers in the world, so it'd be now that you just have Karani because Rondell due to injury and Breland his issues and things like that. So you're saying though that here is the opportunity now that outside of probably of the 4x4, there's a 4x2, there is the mixed relays, and also with indoors and all these sort of things, lots of possibilities, Ali.
Lots of possibilities, lots of chances. And yeah, so the thing is also too is that what we are doing is not something that is supposed to be hitting the ground high and hard and we up there already. It's supposed to be a stepping stone into building something for the future. So it's basically laying the foundation right now, preparing for bigger and greater things. So right now, if per se for the 4x4 the guys are running 3:06, with the absence of Kirani, we're hoping by the time they're all up and ready and in shape, and with Kirani and others on board, we should get at least down to 3 minutes flat, and that is quite competitive on the world stage. So it's all about building a momentum, keeping the guys motivated, highly motivated to undertake this venture.
Yeah, well, let me see. Hello, good night, Michael. We love to see Grenada have a relay team. We have the talented athletes. We just got to get them together and train. And good night, Shimar Fletcher. Oh my Ali, your boys are here now to give you talk, man.
I'm here to give you talk about football.
Jerry. Ali and Paul Williams will now run the 400 next season. Boy.
That is not happening. And actually we have some decent guys for 4x1, so we'll be looking into that. So we have myself, we have Kim, we have Shimar, we have Nazio. Who else we have? We have a whole bunch of guys. We have Nathaniel, who is just starting in Coppin State. I know he would be in good hands. So and it's so easy to get people together. It's not funny. It's just that we just have to be available and willing to do this, man. We can do it.
Some people will say, why so late? I mean, for some, they believe that we had the best chance of medaling, before. And and especially with what Harvey was speaking about, but it's just that things just didn't work out as. How confident are you this time around, Ali, with what that whole initiative, that there is a possibility that something will work out?
And they say better late than never. So it's either we do it now or we don't do it at all. And I am highly confident that within the next couple months, once we're training, we come together, we start building that chemistry, everything would fall into place and it will work out just fine. I'm highly confident about it.
All right. Well, Simon Ross is saying, I'm tired back in Jamaica and Trinidad in the relays. Let's go, Grenada. I'm waiting. And,
soon,
I guess
soon.
I guess as much folks will be saying that, when it comes to these high level events, and what it is for a lot of people have a lot of interest in relays for some reason, and as someone who would have participated at Intercall, it formed the backbone, the excitement, everything about about Intercall per se. Everyone wants to be around for the relays, right? 4x1, 4x4 in particular, and thus I think Grenadians have a desire, they have a thirst, a hunger for relays, and certainly will be looking forward to that. Let me hear now what Wayne McSween has to say about these talents all over the place, and what needs to be done. It's a sort of mixture, because it ties into what you're speaking about in terms of the availability of some of those athletes, and what some of them are actually going through. Let's listen to it.
Of course. Okay, no, Michael, look at this way. We can't just sit and be reactive and hope. We have to be proactive. We have the talent. We have identified the talent. What we need to do is develop these talents. We have World next year, and in the next 3 years, we have Olympics. Now, let's jump off on the recent few. What is going on with Junior Charles? Nobody would know except me. Philip Marcel, Kurt Modest, Gamali, Nathan, Keron, sorry. Look here, Adim. We have them. What we need to do, structure and work with them. One may rise and be outstanding, but together they could be a force. And when they're together, the support will work on. So the talent, they are there, but putting it together, making sense. Not common sense, because it's not common, but just making sense. Let's sit. What are we doing? Do we have a plan? What are we going to just sit on our laurels and just grow fat laurels and do nothing? Or would we be proactive and get up? If we have these youngsters, okay, now, Philip has finished university and he was waiting to move on to North Carolina A&T to do his undergrad. That didn't work, but he has all the requirements. Something stumbled and blocked him. Kurt Modest, similar with Harvard. They are there. What are they doing? No, you can't just tell them come. They're hoping to get in January. Sorry, guys, I exposed you a bit, but I have to say what I have to say. Couldn't we have dialogue, reach to these guys, even if temporarily, bring them back and put them in quality training? I know they go on. I know that. But we have to take care of issues, because we can just have them back here and come in the park and getting a little $600 that cannot buy us Snickers. We have to invest in our human resource. We are sports people and we develop sports tourism. That's not just word of mouth. It's not just diction news. Let's get in depth and do something. So if we put these guys, we already have Kirani established, our hero, our Jaguar, and nothing can change that. So Philip done 46 already, Gamali 46, Junior 46, Kurt and Adim, and so 47. So don't we have talents? No, we have to develop that talent. What are the work we're doing? Because for me, I'm tired in the evening anyway. These guys, they do have a little change coming in, but they have to go and get other hustle, because at a certain age, they finish school, the light has to help at home. The water has to be helped. Food, well, you don't want to go there with food. So, in a nutshell, if we could give substantial support to these youngsters, I would, I don't want to swear because I don't know the future, but I can just provoke these thoughts and allow them to fester and let it resonate and let some action be put in and let us be a bit proactive and get these guys. So if you have like 6 of these guys, 8 of these guys working, we know it's 6 for the relay, 8 of them, and they have quality work and they are relaxed, the mental capacity is flushed of worries, and we work them. Those who are at school, they are at school. We understand that. Those who aren't at school, let's use them and treat them properly. I could guarantee that we would have what they would run. They haven't run in years, like 2 years, because of COVID restrictions and because of the end of the semester. Someone's trying to say they do not want to lose the eligibility to just run in one meet. So hoping to go and run in unattached, and that didn't work. And they, at the ebb, it could lead to frustration, and they're not at school anymore, so they have to start owning their keeps.
Yeah, and certainly that was a frustrated coach, Wayne McSween. And Ali, judging from that, you realize that something has to be done. That's the main thing, that the main theme coming out of that these guys are frustrated, they're not getting to run, and etc. etc. Apart from the whole gist of them, getting back home and and the support and things like that. So what is also important is for them competing and keeping themselves active as well, Ali.
Yeah, that is very, very crucial in terms of their development as athletes. And two of the main things that stuck out to me from Wayne's McKean clip there was talent development and support. The thing is, we sometimes as athletes we were given false promises. That's plain and simple. Because from the day we step outside, we expect, okay, we're representing not only ourselves, but we're representing Grenada. We expect that the association would be behind us. They would call us, they would text us, they would, check up. This is just the little things that we expect, just to keep us motivated to know that they have our backs. But sometimes out here, it gets really lonely. And that's part of what's driving the motivation downward, instead of having them projected in a positive light. So it's very crucial that yes, they get the financial support, but not even all of that. Just a little call, a little text would be good to know that somebody out in Grenada have our back. And I'm hoping that with this platform that we this avenue, this venture that we're going on, that they would feel a sort of oneness, a sort of family unit, that that they have a purpose with their training. So not only that they're going to compete, they may not make finals, but we have a team now that, let's say, all right, this is my group of boys, we're working towards something. So you're not in this alone, we're all in this together, and we're aiming for higher heights.
Let me get some comments here. What is needed is a support system put in place so that the athletes can focus on their training. And Rudin is saying the best hope for Grenada with the team event at the World Olympic is a mixed relay, as it is a new relay on the world stage. Rosemary Welch is saying preparation is key. Need to set up an athletes foundation where funding can be obtained through sponsorship to help the athletes with their training. And Andre McCann is saying, what about developing the kids from young? Rosemary says, throw it out there in the diaspora to set up a financial base from Grenadians. I assume that is why Ali and others, they are speaking about it now. Because you don't want, Andre is coming back and saying, because you don't want to have a gap after all these athletes retire and move on from the sport, which is true, in that, you need to have something, a system in place.
Where
when the folks like Ali and them move on, there's others coming on, as you say. They have Nathaniel, and they have a whole set of guys now. At one point in time, we thought that, you know, we're not where we will find the next, you know, sprinter, quarter miler, etc. But we're now seeing that they're, you know, they are coming on. Track and field ain't cheap, that's sure. You know, yeah, it is. You know, what about local sponsors? Is the government funding the athletes? It depends on
depends on which athletes you're talking about. I mean, because the college athletes, I don't know what, but like I said before, is a whole bunch of false promises. Because one athlete told me that when he left to come study and compete in the US, that, you know, they had his back, yeah, they were behind him, rah 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 rah. But up to this blessed day, not a word, not a dollar from them. I know of one that even reached out to them, and up to now they can't even respond. And Mike, let me tell you something. I came here 5 or 6 years ago, and I remember when I came, I emailed the former president of the association. I was like, I am out here, I'm training, I'm competing with guys. I just want to let you know I'm available for track meets. Mike, it was 3 years later I got a reply to all the emails. I couldn't believe it. I just shook my head and be like, you know what? I will just do this for me, and whatever it is what it is. And that's how I've been moving ever since. But now, seeing that there are so many younger ones, I don't want them to fall into that same kind of lackadaisical way and just not be that motivated to continue on. So this is all about us being together in this together, and having a great support system, so that we can, you know, fuel our energies and channel our energies into good performances.
Sorry to hear that, Ali. I didn't know that, but you know, as they said, straight from the horse's mouth, and you know, the point is that you know, we hope that things will improve. Haran Photo is saying, I really like this idea. Let's move it forward. I'm willing to come on board as well. I hope both private and public sectors can fund this initiative. The plan is there. The money is needed. And Joel Phillip is saying the support system in Grenada sucks. Imagine you do a whole long college season, indoor and outdoor, go out there and give your best, just to be told they are disappointed in your performance.
Yeah, that is disheartening, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of you know, thing that in this day and age, you know, that is what's going on. Let me go ahead, Ali.
No, I was about to say that and they have the resources. I know that they have it. It's just that they want to send people, they say, that is sure on medals. I mean, what we need is participation. We need exposure, and that's basically what helps brings out the best in you. And we are not, or we are hardly ever given that opportunity. So how is it that they're going to see medals if you don't have any participation? You understand?
All right. So when following the Tokyo Olympic Games, I spoke to Javi Glantz, and well, from Tokyo itself, and the whole issue came up about the relay again. But this time, Javi sort of put it into the context of what you were saying there in terms of Grenada's best chance or possibilities. Let's see what Javi had to say about that.
Yeah, man. To run a 4x4 at this level, you need at least 5 or 6 good 400-meter runners. And right now, the answer to that is no, because there's not a pool of 400-meter guys that are just coming out of the woodworks. I think a better relay that we probably could focus on for Grenada is the mixed relay, because you only need 2 quarter miles on the men's side and 2 quarter miles on the women's side. And if we can get this young lady, Melanie, going, and with the right tutorage and right leadership and the right program, along with another good quarter miler out there, and there are some good female quarter milers that are still out there in the mix, and an up and coming 400-meter guy out in that just signed with Arizona State. So it's very feasible that relay will be easier to try to conquer than the 4x4. So with them adding the mixed relay into these Olympic format, Grenada is produced many 400-meter runners. So I think that would be a better ticket as opposed to the 4x4.
Right. I think Coach Javi Glan said it all, Ali, that the possibilities and the Grenada has the potential and the opportunities are there. And I guess that is what you folks are really banking on.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. Because and like you said, we could even rotate athletes for that, because we can, if Kirani has his individual duties, we have Kurt and Philip, we have Gamali and Zimali, we have Kanika, Amanda, Melanie. We have a whole bunch of athletes right now, especially. So we need to capitalize on this opportunity to make strides in the 4x4 mixed relay. I think this is our best chance, and this is our best bet in terms of medal in such.
Some comments there. Mike Batiste is saying Grenada always has athletes. Kirani only has one 400 meters record left in his secondary school. The athletes come and allow to fall by the wayside. Alana is saying, Alana John, the mom of Nazio John, track and field is not cheap, but if we are talking about developing the athletes from a young age to go out and represent Grenada and the country, well, she's saying, and the country can throw financial support behind these athletes, then this can be the key to representation. Athletes cannot train properly if they do not have the equipment they need, such as food, gears, etc. Well said. Joel Phillip, I like the idea of the mixed relay, but to be honest, we would be selling ourselves short to just settle for that. We have too many young athletes to not have a proper men's and women's 4x4 relay. And I think, in addition, I think in the interim, because of what is needed in a competitive 4x4, that is what Javi was really pushing the point. And I think, Ali, for what you're seeing, and I mean, you yourself competing and things like that, I know you have been probably invited to be on relay teams, or club relay teams and things like that. So it's quite likely that it's easy to put together a mixed relay team for Grenada. It's quite easy.
It's quite easy, and and it's easier in the US because flights and everything is cheap. It's just one flight or two flights you're here in less than no time. So that's why I believe right now it's even easier, because you don't have to pull guys from different parts of the world to get them together right now. So they're already in one country. Now all we need to do is just to bring them together in one venue right now just to compete. So instead of we pulling guys from Grenada, well, obviously we will do that. That's the intention, but right now, as a start, we have people out here already, so we're just going to use what we have and start, building up that team unity, that camaraderie, that spirit, to start pulling forward. And the thing is, we don't have to be the best of the best. We just have to be available, and we have to be willing. Because if you look at Japan and China and some of those countries, some of them, there's only one or two guys barely even making the finals, but they're in the finals for the relay events and so on. And so that is the kind of, because of the chemistry, and that is the kind of momentum that we need, and that's the kind of initiative, and that's the kind of thought process I'm looking at right now for us. So once we get together and we always competing, and we start feeling out each other, we know how each other operate, we know our strengths and weaknesses, and we can build from that.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea of the and giving these guys the opportunity, as has been said, because some of them in the individual events may never get the opportunity,
Yeah.
to compete, whether it's, Olympics, whatever it is like that. So world championships, etc. But there is that opportunity. Really, and as good as we need them in the same place and same time to run together or a relay. Shimar, good point, Ali. Yeah. The point being made that it's quite easier in terms of the logistics in getting the guys, and sometimes maybe just a weekend, things like that. So in, out, in, compete, out, and it's not so much a financial burden, as you say, if you have to get them from Grenada and do all the the other things with it. Most of the guys are here, and most of the guys that you are basically banking on, are here or will be here at some point in time. The names that have been called and things like that. So whether it was Wayne Maxwell who have called the names, all the guys' names he have called, actually based in the US, including Jared, who just came up, Jared Sylvester. And then I think probably the only one who is yet to join or return to the US might be Gamali, for example. Okay. And now he has his brother who's up here now, so, quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. And things like that. So, well, not too long from now, probably very shortly, I should be speaking with Fernando just to get a little gist of what's been going on with in Nairobi. Yeah, Nairobi, Kenya. But before he comes on, let me say, Ali. So from here on, what is the plan of action? that is the thing. What is the plan of action?
So right now I've already identified some of the folks. I've already sent out a text blast. So from there, I want to create a WhatsApp group, so we have everybody in there. So we text frequently. We figure out a schedule. We figure out. Well, I have a bunch of meets already that is already identified that we can do. So it's all about figuring out their schedule in terms of school, those who are in college or high school or so on, and identifying some source of funds, so that we can, it's going to be a burden. It's going to be a lot, but so the goal is just to first get everybody together, figure out their schedule, figure out what meets we can do here in the US, and then start branching from there. So once we can do that and we start building that, I think in the future we can also use that funds for even all of that, at least. So for example, let's say we have some of the throwers, Kandisha and Josh and Johan. We can all not only just take in, let's say, our sprinters or quarter milers or relay team, we can have them as well, representing Grenada at the same track meet. So, it's all about building that support system, building that administrative system for, funding and so on. So that's the goal right now.
Yeah, well, nice to hear that. And I'm hoping that, things will work out and that, they will get the support that is needed. But nice to know that the initial response from the athletes have been overwhelming, favorable. They like the idea. And I assume for some of them, it's the first time they have been even contacted or been told about something like that, and they have been looking forward to something like that. You yourself testify that when you got up, for 3 years, you were waiting on, just a response. And I assume that there are many others who probably share similar stories about their experiences. I think we need to do better, and I think coming out of that is why you encourage, more or less to do what you're doing and contacting the athletes and think about that. Right, Ali?
Yeah, we have too much talent just out here, just scattered. I rather us, all be together, just in the national colors. It's been a while, especially for me, you know. So it's a great feeling when you're representing your country. There's no greater feeling, especially if you're on the world stage, and you know the folks are watching you from all over, and it's just a whole it's just a whole blessing to just be a part of, especially for a country that's as small as Grenada. We have the recognition of Kirani and Anderson and Lyndon, but we want more to be out there. We don't want just these 3 or 4, let's say pro athletes, no names to be out there. We want everybody as much as possible to be out there.
Okay then, well, thank you very much, Ali. I appreciate you being on with us and sharing that, and I hope that we can have another update, from not too distant future. I hope that you can give us an update, in the very near future, because the indoor season is knocking on. Yeah, it's knocking, right? So
yeah,
hopefully, yeah.
So hopefully we can get the first race done by December, January. But I'm gonna keep some tight lips on that. But we will be represented. We just want to make sure that everybody has their gears and their uniforms and everything ready, and whatever assistance we could receive, it will be greatly appreciated. Just you can contact me or Michael Bascom and whoever else I decide to put in on board to help spearhead this project. I mean, trust me.
So I've been pulled in just
so I'm pulling you in just like that.
All right. Well, Joel Phillip is saying that, Ali, you should add former athletes as well to the group. Maybe some help can be gotten from them in logics and finding meet supplies, etc. So, Joel, consider yourself part of it as well. All right.
Yeah, Joel, consider yourself part of it. Stop. So yeah, that's the thing. So once we have all those folks coming together, we have the knowledge coming from left, right, and center. I mean, trust me, I'm bubbling inside because I'm ready. I'm ready to take on this, and I think that once our group is together, then we're gonna do exploits.
Okay then. All right then. Thank you very much, Ali.
You're welcome.
Okay then. Right. So that's Ali McIntyre, no doubt, giving us a whole rundown and a summary as to what to expect regarding the that whole initiative to have relays, etc. Well, from Ali, let me move over to Fernando John, who is the coach and rightly so the father of Nazio John, and they're just back from Nairobi, Kenya, where they participated in the World Athletics Under 20 Championship. It has been a very long season, I would say, for Nazio and Daddy John as well, because he has been, thick and thin with Nazio. First of all, tell me about the whole experience for Nazio in the World Athletics Under 20 Championships.
Well, first of all, good night to everyone listening out there. In Kenya, it was a great experience for Nazio. It was second to none. I really can't emphasize how much it helped him develop as an athlete just from that one competition. The way the people received him there, man, it was just amazing. I'm talking about before we went there, the first day, it seemed like all everyone was talking about was Kirani, rightfully King James. But after the third day, having seen Nazio made the finals of the 100, it was all about, man, Nazio the next. I wouldn't say they forgot about Kirani, but the hype was about him and his performance and what he did out there. And it was just a great experience all around.
Fernando, you will agree that it has been quite a tough season for Nazio in terms of competing. Well, he's an athlete, and they will say that's what it is. That's part of the game itself. But any regrets that in terms of the number of meets that Nazio competed in for the season, or you think he was right on target?
I think he was right on target because it was a long season, a dreadfully long season, but I think he was right on target because he actually started peaking at the right time, right around 2-3 meets before the World Games. We start sharpening up, and as I noticed, that's where he's actually running his best. And throughout the season, made a lot of mistakes, so he basically put things together in the right time, and he excelled. He excelled and did well, at the World Games. So I don't believe it was a long season, but I don't think it was too much. I think it could have been a little less, but I don't think it was too much stress that he couldn't handle it because he trained well and he prepared well for that, and it worked out pretty good at the end. So because you don't want an athlete to run where they actually fatigued that they get injured, and he actually handled the competition, the rounds pretty well. So I thought it was just the right amount.
Because they will say that it was a good baptism for him going into college because, as you know, he will be competing almost every weekend. But for a high schooler, it was quite a bit. So it was more or less a baptism as to what to expect at the college level.
Yeah, it was somewhat of a baptism because I knew what he's heading into next year. So we pretty much tried to get him ready for that. This year was a transition phase, in my opinion. I didn't want to wait till he get there for him to experience what he's going to be dealing with every week. So we used this season pretty much to give him an idea of this is what he's going to be hitting. This is where you're at next year. Because I always believe you got to prepare for the next level. If you're in high school, you got to prepare for college. If you're in college, you should be preparing for the pro. So that season we had, it was a long season, but I think it gave him an idea of this is what I'm going to be doing every week next year, pretty much. So it worked out pretty well.
And now that he's going off to college, I know that his mom, Alana, put up something just before he went off to Nairobi. He went off about a week or so, a few days to the college. How much have you all started missing him already? Well, I guess that he will be going off now to college, handing him over now to the guys at is it Butler? Is it Butler?
Yes, Butler Community College.
Butler Community College. Is there a bit of started missing you now?
As much as I hate to admit it, there's a lot of missing him. It's not just a little bit because that's my boy, and he's going away. I think he's in really good hands. He'll be in the same school with Jared Sylvester. Rico Moultrie is also there.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm missing him. I'm going to miss him a lot. But even as we dropped him off before he went to Nairobi, so even while we was in Nairobi, he was actually doing schoolwork. A lot of people, well, I don't think anyone knows that he would compete in the morning, go to the semifinals, to the prelims, go back home and do online class. He'll be attending class before he get ready to go back to the stadium. So that, for me, that showed a lot of maturity, a lot of discipline in him actually getting his work done, although he's competing abroad. He's for halfway across the world, but he was still attending classes and getting it done. And I was extremely proud. I was more proud of that than, his performance because he showed that he's ready to do what needs to be done.
And he has been handling both. Well, when I say both, we know what he's doing in terms of on the track, but he has been handling the academics well as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I have no issue with the academics at all because he's been getting it done. It takes a lot, but sometimes he could be a little laid back as any teenage kid, but he has been really disciplined in the way he handles, getting his work done. I'm surprised that he's that motivated to actually get it done. Because I know I wasn't going to do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm on a track meet. I'm not thinking about class. That's the last thing I'm thinking about. But yet, during the rounds, we actually leave the stadium. He go back and I got some work to do. I'm going to log into class. I'm like, all right, let me leave you alone then. And then after a while, we say, you got to catch your bus at a certain time. Could be ready to go again to go back to the semis or the finals, whatever he had to do. So that showed to me that he's ready for the next level.
Okay. Before we continue, I see a comment there. Richard Mona says hello to you. Fernando. Yeah. All right. You know, earlier in the program, and I think it will be a little interest to you as well. We had Ali McIntyre who was speaking about this whole initiative to get these athletes from Grenada. Now that there's so many athletes from Grenada at colleges in the U.S. in particular, and those who may have just completed college, etc., etc. But an initiative where they will, at times, once feasible, once possible, to participate or compete in relay events. You yourself may have your own thoughts about that, whether in agreement or whatever it is like that. But what do you think? And also, I should say, the whole networking, okay, what is the key about that is networking, whether the athletes, coaches, sports administrators, whatever, especially those in the US, just networking and things like that. But what do you think about that whole initiative about getting Grenadian athletes who are available and who are willing to participate in relay events?
I think that idea is way overdue. You look at the athletes that came to the system for a long time now. We always had the athletes there. Getting them together has been the biggest issue. And Ali reached out to me earlier, and I was happy that he did. And we spoke for a while, and I'm like, man, this is just overdue. We have to get it done. So I'm on board with it. I'm excited about the prospect because we do have the talent. There's no doubt that we do have the talent out there. Getting them together in the right place at the right time, or just getting them together and, get your feet wet as to what we're heading into. I think that's a great idea, and we'll be ready. I'm pretty sure Nazio will be ready. We spoke about the idea and him contributing in any way he can. He'll be able to. I'm ready to contribute.
Mm-hmm. And I know you also have been moving around to different parts of the US, especially with track and field, etc., and seeing competition. And something that goes in your mind, apart from coaching Nazio, is that you wish there were other Grenadians competing here. You wish there was a Grenadian competing in this event, and the possibility of a Grenadian competing in this event. Share that with me. What will be the feeling like, Fernando, when you go and you're in these meets and Nazio is the only one competing for Grenada, and you're saying, boy, I am certain that, this athlete from Grenada would have done well. What's the feeling like?
What that feeling is like, I remember before going to meets with Nazio, and it's just Nazio John. Now, or recently, when we go to a meet, is Team Grenada, Nazio of Grenada. It's like that they add that extra to it, and that gives me so much joy hearing them representing Grenada like that. I saying, oh, Nazio, oh, you represent Grenada. It's no longer Nazio, it's Nazio of Grenada. That's great. And I'm out there thinking, I'm seeing athletes in the States who could actually do the same thing, but yet we can't get them together. Just being in Nairobi, I look around, Nazio is the only one there. It's great to be there, but I'm pretty sure he would have had a much better time having one of his teammates there. I wish he had one of his teammates there. Having your coach there is one thing. Having another athlete there with you, that'll be a great experience, because basically just what everyone else had, a teammate there. I think there's very few teams that had just one athlete there. And it would have been great to have another one there. But going back to what you said, traveling over the States, I traveled to a lot of meets. I'm seeing a Jamaica and a couple of Trini together. All different, Bahamas, a lot of the different islands. Grenada have very, very few. But when you look out there and you look up the results, you say, wait a minute, this person have Grenadian parentage. They could have actually run for Grenada. Even I'm going back to Nairobi, on the games we just came from, a mixed relay could have been put together for Grenada. Like everyone was saying, the mixed relay, the 4x4, I believe they went straight. I believe they went to the semis and finals. So basically 16 teams. Grenada should have had a team there in both the 4x1 and the 4x4. Because I know Nazio is the only one that may have qualified for the time. But there's so much other athletes out there who's right there with the right opportunity and the right amount of meets that they compete in, they'll improve. I'm pretty sure if the athletes had more meets to run, they would have made the qualifying time and not just him. So this is something we also need to look into, giving the athletes the opportunity to actually improve and develop what the natural talent that they have.
Yeah, I think the opportunity, that's the
key.
The key. And I think that is the whole initiative with Ali, McIntyre, and others, hoping that they can afford the athletes more opportunity, because as you say, if they don't compete for their school, there's nothing else for them except they probably selected, the few who are selected to represent, and sometimes they don't represent. But there is an opportunity where there are other meets here in the US, for example, and if their school not competing, etc., you can have a Grenada team participate, and things like that. And that is the whole idea. And as you rightly said too, is it's all about coming together, the camaraderie among the athletes themselves, getting to know each other, all these sort of things, competing together, all these sort of things. As all, most times as you see the Jamaicans and them, just about every meet you go to, there is at least a Jamaican competing, at least. Yeah, at least there is, you will find. And that's why they consider to be among the superpowers in track and field in the world, because especially the junior athletes, they give them that opportunity. They get the assist, they get the assistance, one, and they get the encouragement and the support. Something has to be done. Yes, something has to be done with Grenada. But Fernando, do you think that in terms of prospects, and I know you have assisted and have been trying to assist in some ways, other Grenadians, especially those in Grenada in particular, to get to some of the colleges and things here. But from what you have been seeing, and hearing, I'm saying, are you convinced that we have the talent? It's just getting these athletes the opportunity, or opportunities, giving them that opportunity?
I'm more than convinced that we have the talent. And this is not just me talking based on my feelings. The results that has shown, we do have it out there. Getting them to, I think the key is getting them together, because when you look at individually what the people the athletes have done, can you imagine we getting them together? There's no doubt in my mind that we do have what it takes to get them together. So if you like me, I'm a student of track and field. I'm a student of the sport. So if you look out there and you follow the results from all the meets that they may have competed in, and you get those together and they run, absolutely no doubt in my mind that we can go out there and put together not even one team. I think we could put together a pretty good team from the athletes, because most of them are waiting to be called, just want to get that opportunity to go and represent their country. It's one of the greatest feelings you can get, and you give a young athlete that opportunity, that could open up so much doors for them, and not only them, for others. Because I've been reaching out to some of the coaches in Grenada, trying to get the athletes just to give them something else to look forward to other than intercall. Because after intercall, that's it. Weights and tides. If they can only come to university here, that could open up so much doors, not just for them. Because depending on how they do next year, the coach might say, well, you know what, that kid works hard. He did it. Let me get another one from where he's from, because, the structure is there that those kids are going to come and give all they have. But that's the main goal, getting as much as we can to be in universities. Because you look out here in the university, a lot of the other countries, they have the kids there. I think there's like a Jamaican on every single university roster. You out there. Yeah, there's a Trinidadian, there's a Bahamian, there's others. Not just in the Caribbean, from Africa. There's one in every university. They have someone there. But we have very few. And I don't know if it's because, I really don't know why we don't have that much there.
Let me tell you why.
Why?
Because they have people who seek the interests of their athletes and go out and do what needs to be done. That's simple. That's the bottom line. They have people who are serious, even as administrators, who are serious about ensuring that their junior athletes get it up and they do not waste time on these opportunities. Someone contact them, such and such is the case, they go at it right away. We have a situation in Grenada where they sit on things for quite a while. Look, Ali McIntyre said when he got here, he informed the association that he is here, etc., and he's willing to participate, whatever it is. It took them 3 years. It took 3 years for him to get a response. That to me is wrong. That to me is, I'm trying to find words, but pleasant words really to describe it. But no, serious. And that to me, I'm saying, is why that's why you could not find answers for that, because it's something as the others, and I don't just want to say Jamaica and Trinidad, but the others would not do. They will not allow that to happen. Okay, they'll pounce on that immediately. I had an experience when Amanda Crawford had expressed an interest in representing Grenada, and there was a bit of hesitation. They were hesitant about this and that and all these sort of things, and and that to me is where the others don't falter on. Okay, they grab this opportunity immediately. You get a call about an opportunity for an athlete, and they will ask you how many you need. Okay, they won't just say this one. They will say, hey, I have 15, and they will probably find 15. These sort of things. So that's the clear answer about that. That's the difference with that, in that they grab on these opportunities. And we are saying we can allow and give our athletes and permit me to say our sportsmen and women the opportunities, because it's few these days. It's very competitive. In some cases, there's so many things that need. So if there's an opportunity available, please, take it. Like how we've seen so many of our high school athletes now heading off to Jamaica. It's a start. A year from now, they'll be knocking on colleges' doors, and that probably once they go into the boys and girls champs, for example, this is another opportunity where other coaches will see them, and things like that. So whatever opportunities are available, we have to take advantage of it. If you're contacting coaches, you're making contact with coaches, you're making contact with others. As a matter of fact, you should not be contacting coaches. Coaches should be contacting you. I always say that. They should be reaching out. And hey, Fernando, I have XYZ athlete, is there any assistance, any what, that is what should be happening. They should be falling over each other to contact you and others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Others, like you said. And I was looking at the finals at the 100 meters in Nairobi, and I'm thinking, Nazio is there. We get that. Nazio did well, and he's maybe a little bit above the rest. But I don't think he's that far above the rest of the athletes that we do have. With the right training, the right, facilities and the right support, I think they can be right on his level, the same level that he's on. They can be there if they're willing to work hard enough and they have the opportunities to do so. I'm looking at Jamaica in the 4x1 in Nairobi. They got second. None of the guys beat Nazio. So let's take Nazio out of the picture and say he happened to be a good athlete. Oh, so he happened to be a good athlete. But none of the guys that was on the Jamaica team actually beat him in the 100. So he's faster than all the 4 they had. Surely you're not suggesting that Grenada doesn't have 3 guys that could have come together who is not like him, not as fast, but they're fast enough, and with the right handoffs and put together a team that we can actually compete at that level. I believe we can compete at this level because Zane McFarlane, I think his name is, he's in Jamaica training. There's quite a few athletes out there. They may not be able to run the 10-1 or 10-2, but you don't need 10-1 and 10-2 if you have good, stick handoffs. You need to get the stick around as fast as possible. Perfect example, Team Japan. They don't have anyone running 9-9 or whatever, but yet they're one of the fastest relay teams every year. You look in the finals, they're there. Canada only have Degrassi that's really, standing out there, but they have people within the final to put together a team, and they're in the finals. Same as Great Britain. So it seemed like we're the only one not doing it. When you look around, I looked at none of the Nigerians beat Nazio there, but yet they had a team in the finals. You had teams like Ecuador. None of them. You put their athletes against our athletes, we'll beat them every time. But they have relays, we don't. Same thing happened in the NACA. Okay, you have athletes there that I know I see our Grenadian athletes could beat, but yet they never get the opportunity to go out there and compete. Collectively, we can do it. Individually, we may not be able to get one, 1, 2, 3, gold, silver, or bronze, or whatever. But you put together 4 guys that's almost on the same level. You never know. Anything can happen in a relay. Someone could get excited and leave too early, too late. We get to sneak in, but we need to get it together. We can't win if we're not out there. We cannot get.
Yeah.
Like Ali said earlier, if we don't represent, if we have no representation, we have 0 chance. As long as we have someone in there, there is a chance that we can actually medal for Grenada. And the ultimate goal is to put Grenada on that podium.
Mm. Well, as if I may just use one of the phrases from the popular lotto, you have to be in it to win it. You can't stay out. Let me just get some comments before we wrap up here. Hey, cuz, good night. What's up from Andy Noel?
So, Andy.
George Gotti Robertson is saying it's rather interesting, the pre and post Olympic talk shows programs which featured the concerns of athletes, coaches, and track and field enthusiasts. He says, to finish my comments, where are the comments from the administrator? It's great to have initiatives like the proposed projects led by Ali and other athletes, but we all know where the problems lie. Well, that is true, but, Gotti, with all due respect, let me tell you, if in the earlies, one of the things I did was to invite spokespersons, administrators, whatever, from the various associations to talk and, discuss other things. And I'm being honest with you, I may be saying that for the first time, some of them refuse. They said they're not interested. Period. Okay? I would not hold back a program because they're not interested. Or I would not deny someone the opportunity, whether it's an athlete, a coach, or other administrator, an opportunity to speak on issues because the other party refused to speak. No, I wouldn't do it. Friends or no friends, no, I won't do it. So the most I can say is that I always give them the opportunity to say something to whatever, and they said no, they're not interested. So that's it. The program is there for folks to talk on various issues regarding sports, whatever it is. Some agree, some don't, and that's where it is. It just shows you their perceived commitment, as they say, for the sport. Let me get some more comments here now. Unless they are sure you're getting a medal, best believe it's not happening. A team is not going. That is a mindset, and it's a sad reality. From Joel Phillip, Shemaine Ross, absolutely agree. Let's work with the Grenada Athletics to test the relay model at the 2022 Carifta Games. Shemaine, that is so, but as we indicated, that that is something that they have been talking about for quite a while, giving those youngsters the opportunities. Administrators not interested. That's sad. That says a lot. Yeah, that is something. Unless Grenada is hosting the Carifta Games, it's very unlikely you will see them having a relay team. I don't know, but I've very rare. I think, if I'm not mistaken, probably 2009, somewhere around 2008. Yes, Grenada had a relay team in St. Lucia. I'm trying to remember when again they had one. And I'm talking about the Carifta Games, they would have had one in 2016, I think, when Grenada hosted the Carifta Games. Right, so in and between. But in terms of having a relay team every year, giving them that opportunity, no, that's a no-no. You know, yeah, that's a no-no, and it's kind of sad.
Understanding why. I struggle with understanding why.
Yes, and it's kind of sad because knowing for a fact that most times the character games come just after the intercall and all these sort of things, and I mean, you know, intercall as it is, and we spoke about that a bit earlier. The excitement of intercall, sad though, but the excitement of intercall has to do a lot with relays, okay? And on that point, let me just say something to you, Fernando, and for others listening.
All right.
One of the reasons why there was this big fallout with Michael Bascom, yours truly, and the whole Grenada Invitational, which I conceptualized and started and thing, had to do with the whole issue of relays. Because I thought of the idea of how to create a model that can continue and be sustainable, given the young people that opportunity. And part of it has to do with providing that opportunity, not just for the individual events, but also for the team events as well. So the idea was that from coming out of the intercall, the top 3 teams, boys and girls, 4x1, 4x4, will automatically qualify for a place in the relay events of the Invitational. You'll have a relay events, whereby you will invite probably a team from Jamaica. You don't want it to make it too much Jamaican because you know the Jamaicans are powerhouses in that, but probably St. Vincent and Barbados, and you fill up the rest of the lanes, right? But you give, as part of the encouragement, you give them the top 3 teams in the interim, at minimum, that opportunity that you come first, second, third, at least, you automatically qualify. It's similar to the World Relay meets where once you are finalists, you automatically qualify for the Olympics, you know, sort of thing. You see it right away there, you know, automatic qualification. So that was the idea. But you're giving these schools the opportunity, right? And that was part of the whole. It would have been a progression, right? Some of the smart guys didn't see that, and you know, even though it was well supported by some of the sports some of the sports administrators that I discussed it with. I'm talking about outside of Grenada, though, you know. But that's besides the point now. But the whole idea that I'm getting from you, that I got from Ali and others, is that giving them the opportunity. The opportunities have to be available. If you don't give them the opportunity, it won't. Okay? And just as how we're talking about relays, we're talking about other events as well. You said, you know, you looked at participation in other events, and when you look at the performances of young Grenadian athletes, they're not far from there, you know, and they probably could have been in the mix. You know?
And I also want to challenge the association. Look into the next year, the character trials that you have, national champs or whatever. Put together, you could get a relay team from that. Get the 4 fastest guys in the 100, the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the 400. Have those guys work together. Just work together. And I see absolutely no reason why they cannot get a relay team from that. If you put it out there that you tell the athletes, okay, we taking the top 4, we're gonna select a team. I guarantee you see the level of competition rise, because people think I don't necessarily have to win or run the fastest time to actually get a chance on the relay. You look at the U.S. team; they have, once you make the finals, you're pretty much gonna go to the games with the relay, so they can leave certain guys like to run the individual events. Like Ali mentioned earlier, Kirani, yeah, he's going to run his individual. You don't want to get him too tired. But you have someone who may have gotten 4th or 5th in the games where you select the national team. Give him a chance to go run a relay. I guarantee you they're going to run as hard as they possibly can for your country. And I want to challenge the association to actually put together a character relay next year, like Shaman mentioned. We have the people to do it. Okay, I've been working with some people, and I would love to see them put the guys together. The 4x1, the four fastest guys, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get them together, have them go. The stadium is right there. Use the stadium. Let the kids practice together. Okay, the 4x4. Put them together. I've seen in character where there isn't even 8 teams there because a lot of teams don't even send a relay. You have 5-6 teams. Naturally, you're gonna have Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, but we running at character games and there isn't 8 team, but yet Grenada have some kids that they can give a chance to and they did not. For me, I just don't understand the logics in that. But yet, let one athlete go there and do well. Everyone is jumping and saying, "Oh wow, Grenada this," but yet we could have 6 athletes there rather than 1. For me, I'd rather have 6 athletes there rather than the opening ceremony in Nairobi. Just Nazio and I working out there. I would have loved to see Kelsey or Jamora or somebody else with us. It's more fun when you're in the call room, you getting ready to step out to the track, the opening ceremony, and you're wearing that colors. It's outstanding because everyone wants to know about Grenada. Everyone wants to know what are we about? What are y'all doing? Oh, they love the uniform. They love the way when Grenadians go there, the way they perform. So I would like them to actually get something together where we actually out there, because I know we're gonna compete. I'm not questioning whether or not we're gonna compete. I would just like them to give the kids a chance to be out there and compete. Now, character coming up next year is a perfect example. It's a perfect time to test that theory. If it doesn't work, go back to what y'all been doing before. But I guarantee it's gonna work.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. One, that we do have character games in 2022, and 2, that the authorities can probably start planning as early as possible, because the problem has to do a lot with the lack thereof of planning. There's no reason to say that we do not have the resources, we do not have the funding, etc. But you would have the funding if you attempt to raise funds a week before. Okay, we're talking about a year before. So if you have a plan in place, I mean, there's an initiative by those guys, Ali and others, and they are making arrangements for something that's probably kicking in either later in the year, December, or sometime next year, God's willing. You know, they didn't wait until January to start talking about that. You know, they start talking about it now and trying to put things in motion, start contacting athletes and coaches, etc., etc. All now they're doing it. That is the way you do things, the forward planning. Okay?
I can actually tell you, I'm not sure. I can actually tell you that there is a plan in place to facilitate the athletes going if they were to get together a character team. I guarantee, I've been speaking to some people, and I guarantee there is a plan only if Grenada would actually endorse those athletes and give them the opportunity to go to those games. There is a plan in place where it can be done. So I'm not even questioning or asking anyone. I know for a fact there is a plan in place. Like I said, speaking to Ali and other people, I'm not going to call names and let people know exactly what's being planned, but there is a plan in place. All the association needs to do is endorse those athletes, and everything will. There is something that's going to come through that is going to take care of the rest. Endorse the athletes. Give us the athletes that we want out there, or the one that we believe can actually do something good for Grenada. And I promise you, they'll make Grenada proud.
All right, let me get one other comment, final comment. Joel Phillips saying, during my career years, we had relay teams and we will consistently medal. I don't know what is going on now. It's a shame. I want to thank you, Fernando, and thank you and Nazio and Alana and others for quite a hectic season. All the information, etc., etc., and we look forward to hearing more of Nazio and others. As you said, we have 3 of the guys now in at Butler. Albeit Rico is representing the Bahamas. It's kind of sad, you know. It should have been three Grenadians, you know. But we have Rico, the Bahamas, and then you have Nazio and Jared, and we're looking forward to them for the Indo season in particular. Is Nazio ready for Indo competition?
Nazir is a little bit tired right now, but I believe he's getting ready for the Pan American Games.
But yeah, part of it, right?
That's his focus. But
Yeah.
weight room, she never did. I mean, just getting ready for that games coming up. Another thing, one of the plans that you're gonna be part of that too. Well, I'm pulling you into that, and you're not saying no. You part of it. National champs next year. My plan is to bring a team to the national champs. It's going to be consist of Grenadians who live up here that most people don't know about, even if they just not followed. And they're going to represent well when they do come. And that is one, if the games goes on, as long as the game goes on the school schedule permits, we will have a team down there who is based out here of Grenadian parentage and all the Grenadian athletes. We're gonna come put on a show for y'all down in at national champs as long as they have it. Well, the character trials, if they call it that. So look out for those guys.
All right. All right. Well, thank you once again. And say convey my regards to Alana and to Nazio and others. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. You have a good one.
Okay then, right. Okay then. So that's Fernando, who is the father of Nazio, and he's also the coach of Nazio, and he's speaking to us. They are back in Houston, somewhere in Texas. Yeah, they are back, and getting, as he says, Nazio is getting ready for the Junior Pan Ams. I think it's in Colombia sometime. Yeah, coming up. It will be the final, meet of its kind, track and field meet, organized track and field meet. It's a hemispheric one for the 2021 season. And then the focus now will be on competition in Indo, whatever, thing like that. So JUCO, we have quite a number of guys that we have to look out for in JUCO. Which is the junior colleges, NJCAA, and Nazio and others. I'm telling you, it'll be an exciting season, 2022. Folks, those who follow track and field, you have to start sharpening whatever you have, because it'll be non-stop action when the college season starts with these guys there. These guys will be kicking all over. We have guys all over now. But we have Nazio, we have Jared, both Nazio, Jared, and Rico. Rico, though, representing the Bahamas now. They at Butler. And then we have Gamali, who will be at Arizona State, the alma mater of Joel Phillip. And then we have, his brother, Zimali, at New Mexico. Guys, guys all over the place, right? So look out for that. Final comments now, Rosemary Welch is saying, Basca, maybe you can think about how best to start raising funds in advance and going for the athletes. That could be something that can be undertaken through, I prefer when it comes to like funds and all these things, undertaken through organized structure. So something like the Diaspora, whatever it is. And I know Ray has been speaking about the legacy foundation, something like that he wants the Diaspora to be involved. So there are lots of opportunities where we can look at to do these things, through the legacy foundation and all these other things. So okay then. So folks, thank you very much for being part of the program, and hope to see you on Saturday for another program. I'm Michael Bascom. Good night, and see you there.